Hi everyone, this is the first in a series of videos, the skills builder for algebra. These are the skills that you need to have down pat before you can even start algebra. If you are starting from the beginning, you should probably start on this video. This one is on proper fractions. I've heard them being called a lot of things before. Mixed fractions, I've heard them called standard fractions. I've even heard them being called imperial fractions. Okay, my handwriting's terrible. But it's pretty much anything over something. It's a fraction in that form. Something over something else. Okay, so it could be pretty much anything. I mean, it could be one macho man divided by 3 Hulk Hogans. They don't really line up all that well, but you get the picture. Give me anything over anything, as long as the number at the bottom there does not equal 0. Very, very important. You could have as many Hulk Hogans as you want. You could have infinite number of Hulk Hogans if you really wanted to, but you can't have no Hogans. Okay, so let's look at the technical terms for the parts of this fraction. There is the numerator over the denominator. Okay, or I'm not really going to call it numerator and denominator. I'm probably just going to call it top and bottom. I can call it upstairs, downstairs. Okay, it doesn't really matter. It's just some number over another number. So the question that I actually looked up before I started this is, what's the name for the line there? And it's actually the proper term for it is the vinculum, which is probably Latin, but we're just going to say the fraction line. What it really means is that we have some part of the top number out of the bottom number. So we can think of this as out of. We could think of this as divided by. For every. Okay, so 2 out of 3 would be 2 of these things for every 3. A bit like a ratio. A good way of thinking about it is on our great website PhET. I'm going to presume that you pretty much know how these go. If we have a birthday cake and we divide this, now I guess it's an invisible birthday cake, into 8 pieces, that's 1 out of the 8 pieces, 2 out of the 8 pieces, 3, 4, and so on until we have 8 over 8, which is a whole birthday cake. Okay, so that's going to be a rule that's going to come along later on. So let's have a look at some of the basic rules. Okay, so the first rule is that any number divided by itself is 1. There is an exception there, and I guess you can probably guess what it is. Okay, which makes sense. If you have, your 8 birthday cake, 8 pieces of your birthday cake, and you've got 8 friends, and you divide it up equally, they're each going to have 1 piece of the birthday cake. Makes sense? So the exception, of course, is a big exception as long as the bottom is not 0. Okay? 0 divided by 0 is not 1. It's just no such number. Okay? Doesn't exist. Okay? So far, pretty standard, pretty basic. Change the color. Okay, rule number 2 is there any number, and I'm going to say A is any number and it's just a placeholder for any number. Any number divided by 1 is that number. So let's have a look at it. So 3 over 1 is equal to 3. Pretty simple, pretty basic. Pi over 1 is pi. Pi, of course, being 3.14 blah blah blah, forever and ever and ever. Okay, so that's 2 of the basic rules of algebra. The third rule is also involves 0. 0 is going to come back and haunt us again and again and again. Okay, 0 divided by any number except 0 is 0, which makes sense. You've got 0 birthday cake and you divide it up between 4 friends. How much birthday cake is each friend going to get? Well, the answer is none. They're going to get 0 because there's no cake to go around. Of course, there is a big proviso there. You can't divide by 0 because, as we all know, you can't divide by 0 doesn't equal 0. It's no such number. It does not exist. Okay? So, that's the end of that.